Melodic minor triads. So I wanted us to look at an excerpt from Mick Goodrick's Advancing Guitarist. So let me jump over to the iPad. So you know, Mick Goodrick is, in my book, like considered like the Yoda of jazz guitar. If you don't own a copy of Advancing Guitarist, highly recommend. There's just I've had this book for God almost 20 years now, and every time I open it up, I find something new. It's just and the way that he lays stuff out. Is just fascinating to me. It's very high level teaching. So, but at any rate, I just wanted to kind of go through the chapter a little bit, an excerpt of the chapter where he's talking about melodic minor, and he's very systematic. So he'll start off with like he takes all the intervals of like a C melodic minor scale, and he basically catalogs or tallies where all these different he starts off with two notes, which is an interval, right? He lists those, and then you see how exhaustive this can get, right? Um, and then, but the one I wanted us to draw attention to was the triads. And he does it for seventh chords. He does it for ninth chords. There'll be a link for this in the slideshow that, so if you want to like read this stuff and delve deeper into it, he does quartal harmony, which is like, voiced in fourths. It's really cool stuff. I mean, and like any one of these things could be like months of your life. You could just literally spend months just working on the triads. So that's why this book is so great. It's just a way to kind of like, if you feel stale or if you feel like you want to like explore something, man, Advancing Guitarist, can't recommend it highly enough. So let's draw the attention here. So let's just write out a C melodic minor scale so we can kind of see what he's talking about here. So we got C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B. Okay. So if I arrange these in triads, well, he spells them out right there. Right? So we got an F, A, C, E, and then we got G, B, D. That's a G, believe it or not. Let me switch that. I gotta get away from the red font. I feel like I'm burning your guys' retinas with this red. All right, so D minor, D, F, A. So if you look at that, sure enough, A, C, E flat, B, D, F, E flat, G, B natural. All right. So just so you can kind of see where that's coming from. He cataloged to, he went with the upper. I know a lot of times if we had a minor, they might do a lowercase. But, everybody has different notation styles. So, but that might be, you might be used to seeing minor chords spelled in like lowercase Roman numerals. So, so with that little theory lesson out of the way, I wanted to go back to the thing I like to focus on is, with the exception of the augmented chord that's built off the third note, everything moves in twos. So like if I'm in C minor, well, first of all, let's see here. I can jump to the iPad here real quick. Big guitar, small iPad. Here we go. So, here we go. No, I want to do vertical. This is great content. So, all right. So, all right. So we had C, D, E flat, F, G. All right. So we kind of run out of neck there. So let's jump back up to A. So we'll flip up here and then B. So here's how it works. You've got, minor, 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 augmented, and then two majors, and then two diminished. That's going to correspond with 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you had watched, you can go along with the right, but I right before I'm making this video, I made like a basics of triads and kind of gave you a crash course on that. So if you feel completely lost, maybe you want to jump and check that out. But if not, you want to just be along for the ride, that's cool. So I'm going to build a minor triad off of C. And on this string set, it basically looks like a diagonal. Same deal. Same deal with D minor, diagonal. So you have two minor chords a whole step apart. And then we're going to make a augmented triad off of E flat. That looks like this. Kind of like. All right, so minor, minor. Here's the hiccup. So you got to just remember that third chord is an augmented. And then we have two majors in a row. All right. I don't know if the line helps you. That's kind of like, this kind of to me looks like an L. This looks like a, I don't know, a corner. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't help you, but I always think of shapes. Maybe your brain works that way. Maybe it doesn't, you know. Let me know. Okay, so I just realized that A is not going to work because we got to go to diminished. So let's see. Let me just roll out the neck here to kind of extend it. So let's say A was here. So if I'm going to add a diminished shape, it's going to look like this. And that, you know, I know my classical friends on nylon, that's going to probably be hard to get to, but maybe you're playing a guitar that has a cutaway. So just to recap, we have two minors, 1 and 2, augmented off of that minor third, you know, and then two majors, and then two diminished. Right? That's an easier way. Let's see. Let me do B flat minor. So I'm going to start off the first fret. So everything goes down 2 frets. Minor, minor, augmented, major, major, diminished, and there you go. There's your octave. Move everything else over to the next string set, which, you know, I'm going to leave that up to you, but I'm just going to play through this. Maybe that'll be like your little assignment, right? So you got, let's say, F minor. So we know that's 1. So, you know, maybe a first step is just play it up the scale. So we got 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then octave. One more time. F, G, A flat. All right. Now we're going to add triads to those. So 1 is a minor. 2, I'm sorry. 1 minor, minor, augmented, major, 2 majors, and then 2 diminished. So, you know, you can use this stuff to kind of like improvise with. So I don't know, let's see, let me get like a, let me do a B flat minor. I like sliding between, like, you know, triads that have the same shape, right? That's fun, sliding on the high E string. Right? Now, I'm going to find them real quick on the other string set. So here's B minor. So this is 1. 1, 2. Augmented off the third. 2 majors. Let's say we go down here. This is 5, 6, and 7 are diminished. So now I can add those. So now you kind of got that going. Now you got some triads, and then you got some melodies. So just start mixing and matching. So like maybe play up the scale. that'd be a good challenge to kind of see, like, wherever you stop the triad, can you see what cage pattern or where the scale is? This is like a kind of like what we would call like G shape. Or pattern 3. There's the 4 and the 5 chord, both major. Right? And then, you can learn all the different inversions. I mean, this is like, this is not something we're going to get done in a 10-minute video, but hopefully it gives you some ideas. It really gets fun once you start, like, maybe taking a triad pair and doing the inversions. So let's say, I don't know, let's say I'm going to do 1 chord, so that's a B flat minor and a C minor. Then I do the different inversions. And that's some cool, that's fun for comping. So let's see. I can do the same thing for the majors. Maybe I take an F triad and an E flat, or I'm sorry, yeah, in the key of B flat, it's going to be an F triad and E flat triad, right? So a lot of stuff there, right? Let me get my face back going. So there you go. I don't know if that helps. That always stuck out to me when I was doing this, that oddly, I feel like this was easier for me to learn than the ones in major, because it was like, and it's great because all 4 triad types are great. So in a lot of ways, melodic minor is kind of better to practice if you're trying to get used to triads, because in major, you don't have an augmented triad. So, party. I know I can feel your excitement from that side of the screen. So anyway, so hopefully this helps. So practice goal, play the triads vertically up and down the neck. Let's see, can you see that? Let's see if I can, let me X out of here. See if you can zoom in so you can see this. There you go. So play the triads vertically up and down the neck, just like we did. Start in root position. Okay, so those are the 2 string sets that I was talking about. This is, this being the, let me switch to the guitar. There we go. So when I talk about GBE string, that's kind of what I was doing. And then do the same for DGB string set. Right? And just like we did, improvise switching between scales and triads. And then the next step is inversions, which I kind of showed you a little bit. If you want, you can start maybe branching into like these other string sets on the lower strings. But I find because those are lower, while it's good for your visualization to be able to like see, it's a good exercise. A lot of times, you could probably get away without it for now because, I don't know, I want you to get improvising and making stuff up. And maybe down the road, if you want to like expand into the other string sets, that's great. But I would rather you get really solid on these 2. Again, kind of what I was said about teaching is I'm trying to give you a focus on these 2 string sets and really get comfortable with that, because I think that's your best start. And then each play up the arpeggio and downs. Okay, so a bonus challenge is you could do each cage pattern, play up the arpeggio, come down the scale, and then do the same for all 5 of those. So I'm just going to do that for 1, just to kind of demonstrate. It's very similar to what we did, what we do in our full warm-up. Let's see, where was I? Let's say I feel like doing, I don't know, C minor pattern 3. So is that my, I just realized you can't see the iPad. Hey, there we go. So maybe, I don't know, I'm used to doing that with 7 chords. So it's interesting to think about it with triads. So uh, right? So I go up the triad and come down. It's weird. You kind of got like almost like a 5/3. Boo doo dun 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 doo dun 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 dun. I don't know. That's why it's a bonus challenge. You know, this is. But if you do nothing else, play those triads up and down vertically on the neck, root position, and then that's a great start. So all right. So this one got a little long, but oh well. We'll do better next time. Hope that helps. See you around.